Yeah, definitely important to see what they have in store here. So T1 also going to be saying, okay, we don't want to let Evie play his Urgot, so that is one thing. And Guma is still getting bans against the Caitlyn. We have seen a bunch of Caitlyn bans, but that is not going to be coming through. No LeBlanc for Faker. But it really does feel like, especially for T1, it's like, even if you ban out their first champion, they have a second champion that they're really good at, especially for guys like Faker, right? Because he can play LeBlanc and Ahri to basically an S+ level. So it is difficult. Also, the TF you kind of have to ban. That's going to be banned on blue side as well, especially with a lot of the counters that we have been seeing with the Silas and the Galio still available.
Faker has played over 70 unique champions across his career in the LCK. He's played even more if you add his international champions. First pick priority here will go to the Wukong for steal. So something that we saw T1 use against them last time. It's a very strong pick right now that allows you to bully in jungle. You have some gank potential and mid-game team fighting power, but also kind of stays relevant throughout the game. It's a really nice first pick here because it doesn't really set up anything in your draft, doesn't show anything. Baker going to be locking in the Zoe though right away. We're going to get some Nidalee action, lots of poke, lots of pick potential, an owner favorite.
Owner loves to hover Nidalee. Like, that's his thing.
I know
he
which
does
one
that in
to
the
lock
LCK.
it.
I would love him to lock it as well, but starting off with the double AP from the beginning would be kind of interesting. He is going to lock in the Graves, doesn't play his other key champion in the Lee Sin, so the Graves will be getting more play here at MSI.
Yeah, the Graves with Umbroglaive is going to be a great way to control vision, which is so important for Zoe. You remove the vision, it becomes basically unplayable for DFM. They're going to get hit by trouble bubbles. Vision goes to T1, the Zoe can fire over walls. There's so much she could do. To lock in another late game scaling champ. We saw last time we had upon play the Ezreal, this time looking towards potentially the Aphelios, which will be the lock-in here, is saying that DFM have made a statement twice now against T1 that we are going to try to go toe-to-toe with this team in the late game. We're not going to just try to steamroll. We're going to just straight up accept that T1 is the stronger early game team and try to kind of circumvent that, play around that, and instead look for scaling options. And with the Wukong already, Syndra gives you engage options, very strong lane into the Zoe also. There is some kill pressure here. Like this choice a lot.
Yeah, really like that. Actually, you can set up so much for not only yourself, but your team and the Wukong as well. You've got great gank assist in that one. And when you see that Aphelios, I wonder if T1 are considering going for a Senna lane. Obviously, Keria can play pretty much anything. So if they want to put him on to Sion or an Alistar or literally anything, they could do it. But that's not going to be the choice here. They are going to go for the Ezreal instead. And the Zoe Ezreal, definitely a strong combo of old, and they will be bringing that back.
Yeah, I do like the Ezreal. You know, have a lot of range over the Aphelios, and you are going to be able to do a lot of consistent damage if you can maintain that vision control. I mean, Mystic shots are on basically no cooldown, and if you have wards and the enemy brush, it makes it very difficult for DFM to approach objectives when the Umbroglaive Graves is clearing out your wards. If you're behind, it's so oppressive to play into what T1 have got, because they have so much damage in this comp just straight up front-loaded here. So very scary as we see the Nautilus ban come out here. Karma, Ezreal, a very common lane, so you do see that one get banned away for DFM straight off the bat. Tryndamere, Syndra, very common in the LCK. Also terrifying when you consider Tryndamere plus Syndra plus Wukong, the amount of backline access that is going to give you. So I do like this ban quite a bit.
Yeah, potential also, I suppose, for the Graves to be flexed. So they want to take away that Tryndamere into that pick. Definitely something that Zeus can play, but I wouldn't be surprised if Owner does just hop onto it. Wukong can be pretty good into some of those auto attackers from the enemy team, but we'll have to wait and see where they do decide to go for this one, as we are going to see a gangplank that does get locked in here for the side of Zeus.
Yeah. The late game of T1's comp is insanely strong. They have so much damage towards the later parts of this. The gangplank also going to be so pivotal around early objective fights with the cannon barrage, and that's something that is very difficult to play around with DFM's composition, because he could do it from anywhere. He could slow your comp, which is going to give Graves more power. Rumble with the hover.
Yeah, pretty interesting to see the Rumble that is going to be coming in here. We have seen him from time to time, but wouldn't be surprised to see that just up in the top side to go in that counter lane matchup against the GP. Can be very annoying to just, get that damage in. And what are they going to round out their composition with here in the support side? The Nautilus already banned, definitely one of the more common duos that you do see alongside of the Aphelios, but this time it is going to be the Rakan.
Let's see what this final pick will end up being here. The Rumble coming out, is such an interesting way to set up team fights from a distance. Have the layered damage as well. So shores up a lot of... Oh, you could set up with this Rumble the ability to then have the Aphelios ult finish people off. You have so many engaged tools where like this Bard!
It's Bard!
It's Keриa's Bard! I haven't seen this one in a very long time. It's going to really throw a wrench into the gears of how DFM want to play this composition, especially into the Wukong. Long time no see. I'm very excited for this. This also gives you so much chase potential. You could go deep into the jungle, clear away those wards with Umbroglaive. T1, we knew it was going to be something. We didn't know what the X factor was going to be this time.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because when you think about it more, it feels so nice with the Ezreal too, because you see the Karma, it's banned. Okay, that might have been one of the more common duos that you see down there, but the Bard can roam around the map, kind of leave the Ezreal to just do his thing, farm from a distance. We've seen actually Ghosts from Damwon Kia in an LCK respect do that a lot of times back in the day, where they found a lot of success. And now Keria, he's going to be roaming around the map. He can stop a lot of those engages, as you were talking about, with his ultimate. Very curious to see how he is going to do on this Bard here today.
Yeah, it's just another one of the champions in Keria's big pool, his champion Ocean, to come through. And I think it's actually good for the composition too. Similar to how we saw the Wukong center lane and all the other weird stuff we've seen, the Pyke that he used to actually extremely well outzone Yutapon from team fights the last time these two teams faced off against each other. So DFM, I think the burden is on their execution because they have a lot of CC. They can layer a lot of the Wukong into Scatter the Weak, right? And the Zoe, obviously they're laning into, going to be something they can get a little bit of pressure on with the Wukong in the 2v2s in mid. And I think the Rumble is a great pick here. And when you consider how much you can set up for an objective fight with the Rumble ult, then look for those later engages, play the Aphelios ult late if you've got the right guns. It's a great 5v5 team fighting comp.
Yeah, absolutely. And while we are here at the beginning of this game, guys, grab your exclusive Scare Prize Prime Gaming emote. Definitely want to be flashing that one when you flash into the fight and making sure that you are showing that one off. I am definitely a big fan of that one, and make sure you get it. Kind of looks like Bard, I'm kind of into it. I would definitely like to use this one myself.
Yeah, very cool one. I'm excited to see if Steel can make something happen here in the early, for when he hits level 6, if there's a timing he can hit with Yaharong, because obviously Syndra sets up Scour of the Week. You have the ultimate there. We like to jokingly call it the gameplay button here in or back in the LCK. Set the Wukong ult, go in with the Yaharong ult, kill Faker before he can escape. There's a lot of kill pressure in this lane if you could trade appropriately. And Owner isn't going to be able to stop that because he's playing Graves. So even if he tries to come for the counter gank, sometimes it's just very difficult for the Zoe to escape that. So something to look out for, I think, as level 6 gets hit for both of these champs.
Yeah. They were talking about on the desk how, maybe you just leave that Jace open and Evie can handle it. I am very curious to see how he's going to handle this lane against Zeus's GP because definitely one where you get this counter pick for Evie. Definitely such a veteran top laner. This guy can pretty much do it. He's up against one of the newer guys in the league, in Zeus, and I want to see him prove it up in the top side and actually try to take a win in a lane against a T1 player, which a lot of teams have trouble with. As Harp is going in, he's going to hit level 2, so he will be just fine.
Yep. And then the mid lane, we've seen so many times Syndra versus Zoe, especially last year in 2021. It was a very common matchup. Yaharong very well versed on the Syndra. You can see he's already starting to put on some of that harassment pressure here with the orbs, trying to trade with Faker as much as he can, just basically use his mana as a resource to push Faker out of the lane. And we see Yaharong have many solo kills, in fact, on this champion, even in the LCK, much less common in the LGL because it's not really a Syndra meta. But a champion that he's really well versed on. He's played this matchup so many times. And so far, so good at putting that pressure on.
Steel is going to be getting aggressive up in the top side, and the wave is in a really great spot, but there is a ward down, so probably should be communicated by Evie. Say, okay, he put down a ward just recently, so you can continue going back and farming your jungle. And note that Zeus, he's just gonna back. Even with the lane not in a great spot, he's like, no, I'm just not gonna take that risk. I'll just teleport back to lane after I pick up an item, as we're gonna see another engage down on the bottom side. The Gravitum is available, but not going to amount to too much.
Yeah. And Zeus, totally fine up here. Owners around. You can see the vision shown here is now, of course, on a ward. And is going to back off. Evie's got the wave here in a pretty good spot for him. Your turret, as often you have to do against Gangplank in a matchup like this, especially in the early parts of it. A lot of respect shown. And it's a slow early game with these two very strong late game comps that these teams have built. So despite Steel's early gank opportunity, it's a very slow-paced game compared to our last one. Let's just say, and compared to many of the ones we've seen in this group so far.
I love the way that Evie's playing that lane state, by the way. He knows that the Gangplank just left, so that's going to mean that Zeus feels less safe. And he should, because Steel is going to be up in the top side here and be looking for a gank against Zeus. We'll see if this does work out, as that Harpoon is going to land. They've got him kind of against the wall here, as he will slow them down. Not sure how you'll get out of this one. Looking pretty good. Zeus is going for the kill onto Evie. He flashes in, but Harp is here as well. And that is just going to be first blood. Excellently set up here from the side of DFM, as Evie put that lane in the right spot, and Zeus gets punished.
The wave management here from Evie is what leads to this. It's the second path. Knows that Owner was like on the top side of the map and had left. And when he goes over, when Steel comes over, he checks to make sure the Owner is not in that brush. If he's in the top side brush, it means he's lost an insane amount of farm. He's stayed super long, and then he could just walk away. There's no cost because the wave is in such a perfect spot. But if he's not there, which is what he correctly predicted, he's able to set up for a kill here. Really nicely done. Zeus has no teleport, lost it previously, so now has to walk all the way back to wave. And notice that Zeus just zoned out here. He's put between a rock and a hard place with the turret. Tries to flash forward here to get Evie, but Harp gives him another shield, and he just does not have enough damage. Just doesn't have his Q in these early levels. Cooldown's still pretty long, and doesn't get to trade. Very successful gank here already. And when 6 is hit for Steel, he's going to keep that ball rolling.
Yeah, and for me, I think even if Harp wasn't there, I think he still would have survived. But the fact that he was there and that they were putting so much thought and time into this gank really just shows how much preparation they have put into this matchup. Like I was saying before we got started, right? They would love to just get one win against T1 and see if they could actually make that happen. And this is where it will all start, you know, getting the Rumble ahead and getting him to be annoying and taking Zeus out of the game early.
The other thing, too, about leaving the Aphelios to his own devices alone versus Ezreal Bard, it can be very frustrating to play that one out, but he bought a call. So he's like, yeah, I'm going to let you go up there. I'm just going to sit back and farm. Not going to make any plays. I'm going to 1v2 down here. I'm going to get the investment returned on this call purchase that you very rarely see on Aphelios, actually. You see it on Jinx a lot of the time, but not on Aphelios so much. And it's a really nice strategy. Like, DFM clearly had a plan going into this, like you said, and there's all these pieces you could see across the board.
Yes, it's really cool to see, and you see everything else, right? I suppose that Owner getting ahead on CS would be the one thing that T1 have right now. But again, another ward is here. Owner is not going to get any value in this lane. He has to come up here and help Zeus push this out. Otherwise, I mean, the lane was being forever frozen once again by Evie so excellently. So they were like, well, we got to come up here and help you. So it's going to be a lot of effort as they are trying to get this down. That is going to be the sleep as the equalizer does come out, but Zeus is just going to shoot him down, and T1 are able to convert at the end of the day.
Yeah, and there's nothing, unfortunately, here for DFM. They can make cross-map here. Steel is going to just sit here under this wave, not here fast enough. They got outnumbered. It will cost Faker some minions here in the mid lane, as you can see, is crashing through to the turret. As Yaharong is going to take this opportunity to roam bottom with the crashing wave, Level 6 not up for Udapon, but they're still going for this.
They've got a big opportunity here if they can land that stun. The ultimate will come out. The unleashed power is going to get it done. The Cannon Barrage is put onto Udapon, but it's not really getting that much value. As Yaharong, he will safely have to flash out of this one, but it's yet another big advantage here for DFM early in this game.
Yeah, if the Cannon Barrage is faster and it can slow it to keep Guma alive, he gets a flash off, then can have the chase. This looks completely different, but yeah, Cannon Barrage now down on Zeus, is trying to, again, walk back to lane. It's just controlled by Evie. He doesn't make the impact. It's a really nice gank timing here for Yaharong because he knows Faker was topside. He's got the wave push. Faker will, of course, bounce this one back and is going to look for a plate. But this early game has been so phenomenally played from DFM, really showcasing a masterclass of we can win games without steamrolling like we do in the LGL. Normally get so many kills in the early game, the rest of the macro doesn't matter. But this time they played it out very smart. I think it's really credit to the coaching staff preparing for this game.
Absolutely. We'll see if they can keep it up, right? Because as you mentioned, straight from the draft, they have picked something that is going to scale and is going to be able to fight T1 later on in a draft sense. So I'm excited to see if they can actually make it happen, as now they're going to trade this first Drake and DFM will be able to take the Rift Herald. Definitely a big win for them. Owner will pick up the Ocean Drake. But I think that early Rift Herald, that's something that T1 always fight over. But you can tell in this game they're not confident to, as the Equalizer will come down. Zeus is burning down. Evie, he is just out of the range. He is being so cheeky with that. Takes a big blast as now. Charm comes down, and the ultimate will be used by Udapon. That is just a dead Ezreal. Guma will be taken down as well.
This is not the first time in this group that Guma's positioning has been extremely far forward, extremely disrespectful. The wave's in a bad spot, and he's greeting for it. He's trying to get up there, doesn't know where Harp is, and without his partner, Keria, who was actually still in the river super far away, you can't be that far up. You can't actually get those minions. You have to give them up. You have to be willing to sacrifice that, but he wasn't. Not showing the respect I think that DFM deserves here, especially in this bot 2v2, or bot 2v1 in this case, because Keria wasn't there. Getting punished yet again. These are the things we're going to be looking back on. These are the analytical points I think when we head into Rumble stage and potentially knockouts that, you know, RNG fans are definitely paying a lot of attention to. Like, okay, how is this 2v2 going? Most dominant 2v2 in the LCK, but here in this group stage, still most dominant of Group A, but not the same level of dominance, not the same amount of clean play that you come to expect from Guma Keria.
Yeah, I think that is definitely granted. I think even in the games that they have won as well, you know, just like picking up the pike and just going absolutely way too over-aggressive. It's like, you guys didn't have to do that, right? But perhaps something to think about as the tournament does come along. Certainly as well in this game, you know, Guma currently at 0-2. So we'll see if he can come back from there. As Harp, he is roaming around the map. He's looking for plays, but there is a nice amount of vision here in the river that will spot him out. He should be able to clear some of that too, as the sleep is going to come down onto Yaharong. Fantastic scat of the week. Is it enough to get him to safety? The answer will be no, as he did not have his flash, and the second he got slept, I think he knew he was gone.
And this is when T1 could start to use this Umbro Glaive for the first time, realistically, make sure they can clear deep vision in DFM's jungle and start to be really, really frustrating, because up until this point, Owner hasn't had that much agency to actually go deep on the map. They haven't had any of these lanes really under their control. So this Graves pick was starting to feel like it might actually flop big time, especially when you consider that Zoe needs to get this early first turret. She didn't have an opportunity to do that just yet. Now she's putting the pressure on. They didn't have Herald.
Evie was hiding in that barrage. The Cannon Barrage is here. That's a barrel to the face too. The Equalizer is not quite enough. One more auto could do it, but he's gonna wait for the shot and pick up the extra gold. Zeus will take the 1v1 after being surprised by Evie in the bush.
It feels like this is a bit of deja vu. You know, when we think about how the last series with these two went, the early game went a lot better for DFM than we expected. T1 made some mistakes. There were some problems. And then it fell apart. Faker, he's going to be all right. But
he's really a min-maxer, that guy, Faker. He was really playing on the edge there. If he was like one split second longer in that lane, might have just been ganked by Harp, but not the case.
He has stopwatch, and the rest of his team is here.
Faker's getting aggressive. That's another sleep that's going to land onto him, and you know he's going for that kill. That's going to be the end of Yaharong once again. Even with all the teammates around, Faker says, nope, I just got this 1v1. He will take him down.
Yeah, this is T1 now are in a position that even with Heraldless, they can get early mid-turret. Like, they're getting so many kills here. Second kill onto Yaharong. Deep vision here on the bottom side. They can group up. Owner can continue to put pressure on. That mid-turret goes down. They got extra vision. They're clearing vision away. The Zoe pick becomes stronger. The Graves pick becomes stronger. And with 2 kills now on Zeus, that was, I think, the biggest weak point on the map. No longer the case.
Steel, he was running out of time on this Rift Herald. It is going to be before the plates do go down, so he's going to be able to give some of that gold over to Evie. Actually, 320 total because he does pick up an extra plate there on the top side. Will be given to Evie. And then, of course, 160 over to Steel. The Wukong, as now the Magical Journey comes in. They are just bullying Yaharong right now.
Sleep setup.
Yeah, he's got the sleep setup. That's going to be the end of him. Nice on Scout of the Week, but that's not going to matter because Faker is right there. By the way, picking up that MasterCard Mythic, the Luden's Tempest, at 12.59.
You can see the synergy between the Bard and the Zoe in these moments because it just allows you to get guaranteed trouble bubbles.
They've got the combo onto Zeus, but he's able to skirt outside of that equalizer and just flash away, and Steel almost takes more damage than the level 10 Gangplank on that one.
Yeah, does look that way. Nice opportunity, but this is what I'm talking about with the mid lane. Faker is just getting plate after plate. He is deleting these minions as well. As Keria, look at the vision control around him. Zombie wards, Glaive cleared everything, just ults. And as he's in stasis, Faker times it perfectly, hits the sleep here, and allows him to get that follow-up damage to secure the kill. So Faker, several kills on lock here. Turret getting low, no vision for DFM. This is where things get nightmarish.
That's going to be another hit into the wall of the Cosmic Binding, and the alley-oop to Guma Yusi from downtown.
Look at Yaharong's face, too, on the player cam. He knows. he is a Korean player, right? He's played in front of this crowd so many times. He's been killed by T1 so many times throughout his career. There's just one of those moments where he's like, crowd's against me here. He can, you know, I mean, he can't hear them, but he knows they're going crazy.
Okay, but Envy, he's looking to turn the tables on this one. He's going to get the shutdown onto the Gangplank. And that will be very nice for him up in the top side, as Owner is just going to chip away at this one. Faker had taken down 3 plates worth of health on that turret already, and Owner finishes the job.
Udapon's flashless because of Keria's ult. He had to flash it there, so that's another tool gone here. Could see a follow-up dive down onto the bottom turret. As Steel is trying to get away with this Rift Herald take. Owner's much more interested on the top side of the map.
This could be dead Evie. He's got no flash, nothing right now, as Owner is just chasing him down. He still has the collateral damage, just waiting, and just shoots him straight up there. Owner is going to take advantage of that.
Keria?
Okay, the Wukong's gonna get it. Not the Bard this time. The Bard very trolly as he just runs by and the Magical Journey's away.
Yeah,
that will be the end of that.
He's very non-committal, but he goes over. Didn't have ult. And if they had tried to catch him, then Owner comes over and they actually win the 2v2 there. Owner having so much lethality at this stage in the game allows him to just walk up, kill Evie on top side. And DFM have just really dropped the ball at controlling the macro parts of this game now, despite a very significant early game lead. We'll look for a bounty here on the bottom turret. T1 putting so many resources mid and top. At least they pick that up. Nice consolation prize here. Cull is complete for Udapon. So these items are starting to finally come online for the Aphelios. He's going to be hitting those spikes very soon. But it may just be simply too late at this point with T1 having double Drake advantage.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue here is that it's so cool to see too, right? Because there are a lot of games where Guma and Keria just carry it, or Zeus is playing Jace and he just carries it, and Faker's kind of the enabler for the team, you know, one of the veteran guys. He's kind of calling the shots, but he's not necessarily single-handedly carrying, unless he's playing Ahri, I guess. But there are games like this where Zeus kind of feeds it, and then Guma and Keria kind of run it, and then Faker's like, you know what? I'm just going to kill Yaharong 3 times. Yeah. I guess I'll just have to be the carry guy. So you're going to make me work hard for this one. I guess I'll just have to. You know, say what you want about the scaling, but Faker's kind of just stomping it in the mid lane right now.
In a comp like this, too, against what DFM are running, it's actually the worst champion to have go off the, you know, off the deep end. Like, the fact that the turret is down means that Faker can very easily roam around and actually make impactful plays. Look at all the wards here. The Umbra Glaive plus Zoe plus the Bard. Like, this is such an oppressive composition. We talked about it in draft. Now you could see it in reality. You could see how it's played out. And yes, a few topside wards for DFM were up earlier, but there's no objective there. It's not an important place for them to have the vision. Where's the vision for T1? Right here where it matters most.
Oh, the flash comes in, not quite able to land that cosmic binding though, so even with the flash and the exhaust and the mistempered fate, this time Yaharong, he's able to get out of that one. I suppose he's had enough experience, and now he is able to very nicely sidestep that one. So, bit of a play up on the top side. They're trying to follow up on a steal, but it is not easy as he is going to try to avoid the barrels now. Zeus still does have this turret as the Rift Herald is dropped in his face. Still 3v1.
No flash for Zeus. No cannon barrage. It's coming up here.
Equalizer now. Now it's 4v1, and they are going to take the free gangplank. They say thank you very much. They also take down the objective bounty on that one as Skooma nearly just chunks Udapon to death.
They want this fight. Owner's rotating over.
No tempered fate available right now for Carrier. The collateral damage is enough. He's able to get that from huge range. Owner picks it up now 2-0-2.
There's no turret here. I think they're not done just yet. Faker's running over. This is just going to force DFM to hightail it out there. But once again, this means T1 remove vision on top side. Yes, you got the turret, you got the bounty that comes with it, and this is, for this group, you know, a pretty small gold advantage for T1, like if you consider how the group has been going. But it's vision advantages that mean that DFM don't have options. They don't have opportunities. And even going for a 4-man group up to kill a turret has consequences. You end up losing your 80 carry anyways. You give another kill over to Owner. Look at the like minion waves are giving vision. There's wards on both sides, top and jungle on blue side. DFM have no idea where T1 are rotating at any moment in time. Look at how slowly and carefully, without vision, they clear ward after ward, piece by piece. It's a Rakan, right? This is a champion that's not tanky against these lethality champions. They're going to blow him up. The Graves in particular, I should say. As T1 will go ahead and just casually take Soul Point as DFM struggle to get vision in their own top side.
Yeah, I think DFM at this point, you know, they're not that far behind on gold, so they'll just say, well, you know, it's a Cloud Soul. We wouldn't really like to give that one up, but we don't feel confident enough to fight it right now. And as you were talking about the vision, they don't really have a position really to fight it on this one. But maybe on the next one, they can slowly start to try to take some vision on the map, slowly try to push into that objective, and at least not give up the soul and try to claw it back from there. Because again, you know, in a gold sense, they're not really that far behind. They still actually have objective bounties, though, on the map somehow. So they're going to be taking out this one on the top side. The Cannon Barrage gets a lot of value, actually. Will deny this, you know, semi-base race we got going on as Yaharong, oh boy. He does have the flash, but he is going to eat a barrel to the face as the oranges will be enough. And Owner steals the kill. He's going to take it from the turret.
They're also getting mid-turret. They're getting mid-turret. They're pushing bottom. And yeah, you got the top bounty, but is it worth it? Is it worth it? The answer is no. They actually didn't even complete it. So, you know, macro's falling apart a little bit here. You're so desperate, like, okay, we got to force top turret down because we can't do anything else on the map. So one place we know T1's on the bottom side, we could try to force something. Does not work out. And T1 get a free set of backs here, no punish whatsoever. It's 20 minutes into the game. They don't stick to try to grab inhibitor, but do they really need it at this point? In fact, might even make DFM's ability to farm a little bit easier. So they just back away, drop down all those wards, and for the next 3.5 minutes, they're just trying to punish DFM and set up Baron Vision. DFM are here first, they're here faster, but they do not yet have the items to look for a fight here.
See what they want to go for. Faker's going to land a big sleep onto Steel in the backside, kind of takes away from his potential engage power. As, yeah, DFM, you know, this is part of why we were talking about before, as I'm going to have to hold that thought. We do have the charm coming in. That is the engage. The exhaust does come in, and that is a big temper fate to save Carrier's life and to hold Steel in place. As Evie is getting a lot of damage done, but it's only him in the backline, only kills the support. As that is going to be the end of Steel as well. And now it is cleanup time for the side of T1. Big stun does come in, but the unleashed power will be denied by the stopwatch, and that will be the end of Udapon as well. Not quite going to pick up the ace, but T1 basically got there.
I mean, they will pick up the Baron, and they win the fight convincingly. DFM, remember, were on objective first, but they got split apart. T1's trouble bubble usage, or Faker's trouble bubble usage, was so good that DFM weren't able to actually control this space. They had to back into the choke. T1 chased them down. This Red Bull power play is going to be very big for the first Baron buff of the game. As Noah's Harp's engage doesn't go the way they want because they don't have really follow-up damage. Guma, you see an owner on the bottom side, so as Yutapon steps forward to look for the ultimate there, they punish, they wrap around. This is what I was talking about, looking very disjointed are the side of DFM as they try to desperately force an engage because they think this is the one chance we're going to get, and it's not good enough.
Zeus teleported from the top river to the top lane just to corral the Yutapon, the Aphelios in that case.
The Yutapon.
Yeah.
There's only one.
He's the guy. And yeah, I think that T1 at this point with the Red Bull Baron buff are going to be pushing it as Zeus is just going to be charmed up. But Tempered Fate, this is what Bard offers to a team. Is it enough as Zeus is incredibly tanky, able to get through all of that as Owners just 1v1ing, and now the cannons are really going for T1. As Yutapon, he's trying to get that front line, but it is not going to happen. That is the ace, the double kill for the Bard. And it might just be T1 ending the game with the Baron here.
It was a good start for DFM. We saw the gold graph earlier. Top side of the map went their way. Some disrespect from Gumusi on the bottom side. But this comp comes online because Faker carries this game 6-0 and 4. He will finish on the Zoe. Turret goes down early. Owner with the Umbral Glaive, clearing up vision. This composition played out so beautifully. Insane draft from T1, very unique, even making the Bard plays to set up Zoe, hitting those trouble bubbles. T1, they are going to advance from Group A with this win. They're 4-0, and one of their toughest opponents in the second round robin in DFM is gone. 6-0 seems more and more likely with each and passing game. Be the third team to do so here at MSI 2022 in this first group stage. DFM, though, credit where it's due. Yes, they do lose 0-2 to T1 in front of a Korean crowd in a sports rivalry that's been as long as time between Korea and Japan. But they came with a solid draft. They had a good plan. They played the early game well. The roams we did see were just phenomenal from them. They know how to punish. The Rumble counter pick was great. But unfortunately, just Yaharong in the mid lane couldn't stand up to Faker's pressure. They didn't show enough respect there, and that was what got T1 back to the game. In a composition that needed vision control, they finally made it happen.
Yeah, you know, there's just moments like that where it's little things in the lane that T1 will absolutely crush you with, right? Like, if you are a Syndra without Flash against a Zoe and a Bard, not to mention, without vision, you just can't be up in the lane. You just got to give up some of that lane. We've seen that some mid laners can handle that, and others are like, no, I really need that farm. I need to put on the pressure. I'm Syndra. This is what I do. But immediately, T1 will take advantage of that and put it away. So, yeah, I mean, this is part of the reason why we don't see a lot of teams try to go up against T1 in the later stages of the game.